So here I am in the car again with Susie driving because I can't drive. I had a seizure, so I can't drive for 6 months. That's one way of getting out of driving. But I'm really mindful that the last time I was in the car driving was I was driving to get my diagnosis, and I was scared. Now I'm driving, and I'm driving with a different experience. I am excited. I am so excited because I'm driving to the Pacific Pearl to see Dr. Mimi Guarneri. And I hope she's there, and so she can bless us with her presence. But one of the things I've been thinking about was, I've been talking about my cancer as a backstory, but I'm wondering if I've done many people a service, because I realize that I'm not the only patient with cancer who may be listening to this. Right now, I imagine that you may be watching this and somebody in your family, either you are touched by cancer or somebody in your family is touched by cancer. And if you look at the prevalence of cancer, with the lifetime prevalence is 1 in every 3 people will have cancer. It's very likely that I'm talking to you right now when your lives have been touched by cancer. So there's another arc of the story. There are so many plot lines weaving through this story that's been graced by God. I mean, it's just so many plot lines that are weaving through. And one strong plot line is, me being a patient on my cancer journey. And it doesn't have to be cancer. It could be me being just a patient. But I want to really kind of share with you how I can serve you well on this journey. And part of it is that I want to record as much of my journey as possible for your benefit. This was actually the place where I remember I had that white light on my neck when I was in my peak fear. Now I have the white light in my soul with inspiration. So I want to just share with you the threads of my approach to my journey and kind of why I'm so blessed. So first of all, let me give you some background about me. First of all, I am an internist who is trained at UCSF, one of the top medical schools in the country. And I went there for my medical school, I went there for my residency, and I went there for a fellowship, interestingly enough, to actually, which was a teaching fellowship, because I love teaching. And so I was the first teaching fellow at UCSF. And then in my fellowship, I wrote one of the first textbooks on evidence-based medicine, which has evolved to become the standard of practice by which all doctors are now trained to make science-based decisions. So I have an acute, I have an acute sensibility in how to process science, how to make science-based decisions. And I trained in the conventional medicine realm, where it's not lost on me that the one arc of the story is I am blessed to be receiving from Scripps MD Anderson Cancer Center the envelope of what conventional medicine has to offer. What you're going to be watching is you're going to be watching me go through an experience that is the experience at the envelope of knowledge, because some of the greatest minds are not only at Scripps, but they're at the MD Anderson Cancer Center, where they cross-pollinate and they have medical tumor rounds where they discuss cases, and they really are at the envelope of research in that care. So I will get state-of-the-art treatment, which right now I'm set up for, as you saw in the earlier video, I've been set up for radiation therapy. This Friday I'm going to be meeting, and you saw the diagnosis. I've got one of the top neurosurgeons in the world in Dr. Malone. And then Dr. Malone reports, his advisor is Dr. Barnett, who's plugged into all the latest research trials. And I'm speaking to Dr. Barnett on December 7th. So I hope, to some degree, I hope that I can bring you as much of the recordings of these calls so you can see what happens behind the scenes in each of these calls. And then I'm seeing Dr. Mason, who is the head of medical oncology at Scripps. So he's going to actually set me up with my chemotherapeutic regimen, and so I have got the dream team in conventional medicine. Best of what. Now the conventional, the paradigm within which I received my training is, the paradigm of healthcare when I went through my training was that the definition of optimal healthcare was to maintain absence of disease, which is a noble pursuit, and I believe that the state of the art does that very, very well. But in the language of appreciative inquiry, what that solves for is a deficit gap. We're getting from kind of disease to kind of baseline cure, and by the way, that's a blessed response. So here's where the world of integrative medicine goes further. So in addition to all of that background, I'm also the founding chair of the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine. And Mimi is the president of the organization. Now I'm going to see her. So I've got a dream team in that arena. I have Mimi on my dream team, and then I have Patrick Hanaway, who is the medical director of functional medicine at the Cleveland Clinic, one of the top medical centers in the world. And they're doing a pilot project of precision-based molecular medicine. I mean, this is the envelope of what personalized medicine, because it really gets very deeply into, really kind of precision medicine. And they're having extraordinary outcomes at the Cleveland Clinic with this integrative health approach. And then, interestingly, there was a side that, his experience was Patrick had very advanced, I think he had stage 4 throat cancer. I mean, it's a lethal form of throat cancer. And many of us go to Patrick for guidance, on anything in integrative medicine. People come all the way over the world, and he's one of the most brilliant minds in integrative medicine, literally into the how-to. Not only does he have a giant heart, but his how-to knowledge in the world of integrative medicine is the envelope of integrative medicine. And so when he got his cancer, he didn't take it on himself. Mark Hyman, who wrote the book Ultramind, he's a kind of a celebrity. Many of you have probably heard of Mark Hyman. He's the chair of the Institute for Functional Medicine. And so all his books actually are written, giving access to functional medicine in language that you can appreciate. Anyway, Mark introduced Patrick to Nalini Chilkov, who is a practitioner of traditional Oriental medicine. But she has 23 years in experience in integrative oncology. And she helped guide Patrick's journey. She helped guide Patrick's journey to the point where 2 years later, he's now cancer-free from actually an impossibility with what he was facing. So he's had this miraculous recovery. And so I'm blessed. He made an introduction for me. I just want you to have an understanding of just like the caliber of these individuals that I want to shine a light on and bring to you in my experience of my unfolding cancer journey. And I'm going to be doing, an intake. I'm going to be working with Nalini Chilkov. I have a different cancer, it's different from throat cancer, but I will be at the envelope of, because they've sent me their blueprint for the blueprint of Patrick's success in his healing, and we're going to adapt that blueprint for my care. So I have got the best of conventional medicine, and I've got the best dream team in integrative holistic medicine. But here's where integrative holistic medicine, I want to elevate, because, there's a lot of, discussion and kind of like, myths about the value, but there's a lot of bashing of the world, in the world of politics and conventional medicine, where they bash integrative health practitioners. And I just want to, say that some of that bashing is not deserved. There are some folks that are not doing evidence-based care in this world, in the world of integrative medicine, and that's fair game, if claims are being made. But in this academy, we're invested in the science of what works, so it's science-based, but it's a different paradigm. And the paradigm of care is it, rather than maintaining absence of disease, which engages you in a deficit gap. When I shared with you Lee Lipsenthal having introduced me to a definition of optimal health, that definition of optimal health, which is optimal health is the conscious pursuit of the highest level of function of the physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual and environmental aspects of human experience, resulting in a dynamic state of being fully alive. This results in a condition of well-being, regardless of whether you have the presence or absence of disease. How does that inspire you? When you hear that definition of optimal health, how does that inspire you? How does that motivate you? So that motivated me, and I actually that changed my whole frame when we're talking about evidence-based medicine being a paradigm shift. When I mentioned that earlier in one of the earlier videos, the moment I saw that definition, I realized that it wasn't a paradigm shift.
Which way?
You can go over here, just
To the right?
Yeah, to the right, and then you go down to La Jolla Village Drive and take a left. Thank you for driving, Susie. I appreciate you. So, to pick up on the thread, I was talking about the paradigm shift in. We were talking about how evidence-based medicine was a paradigm shift, which is just a methodology of asking the right questions, finding the best available scientific information, going out and evaluating that information, and then applying it in care of our patients, and then looping back around and doing an active learning cycle is what we're doing working. That's the scientific methodology of evidence-based medicine. But when you're operating in a paradigm of maintaining absence of disease, and you frame questions, the questions you're naturally going to frame are how do we maintain absence of disease? And the answers you're going to find will be constrained by the question and lead you into databases and modalities that actually serve that ends. But the integrative holistic medicine actually operates in an abundance gap. It operates in an abundance gap. And it actually frames the question not as how do we maintain absence of disease, but fundamentally how do we create health? How do we create health? And it's interestingly enough, Don Berwick, who is past head of the Center for Medicaid Services, he had the wisdom to actually come up, this is the, government, he's one of the biggest visionaries in healthcare. He said that we need to invest in the question in how do we create health, for which the current medical system is not fully equipped and designed to address that outcome. But this is the world of integrative holistic medicine. This is the world of integrative medicine, because if we put evidence-based medicine in to that paradigm, asking the questions and finding answers and evaluating them and making decisions in that paradigm, we're going to actually land up with a question, how do we create health? How do we create health leading into a more vast toolbox of treatments and methodologies and practitioners. And so this is kind of the world of the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine, which is the umbrella organization in many ways for integrative healthcare. And it's we're an intraprofessional organization bringing together the best of scientific evidence in service of answering the question, how do we create health? And it's really, you know, treating the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, which you heard me speak about. You know, Scott, who I did the video with Scott yesterday, and he was sharing from a mental health and healing point of view. Yeah, take a right over here, sweetie. Love you. And then a left on La Jolla Village Drive. Yeah, and Scott was saying that, certainly in conventional care, we've done a good job with, addressing needs of even the body. So there are a lot of pharmaceutical treatments in a disease, and then taking care of the mind, and that would get you into the realm of, cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean, they do many of these methodologies of talk therapy, but not what he was saying. Nobody's done a really good job at actually integrating the spirit. So what this would look like, the lens of it's a full integration, and I'm mindful. I said to him in that interview yesterday, I'm mindful that you've called your center the wholeness center, and this is what's beautiful about that. The root of that word health is actually wholeness to begin with. The root of the word health. So what you're asking when you're asking the question is, how do I become healthy? You're asking the question is, how do I actually come to an experience of wholeness? And what Scott said is he wanted to remind everybody in his closing thoughts that you're already whole. So it's actually it's reminding people of the essential wholeness that they are. And it's understanding that the root of the word patience is actually interesting. The root of the word patience comes from the Latin patiens, which means to suffer. So patients suffer from fragmentation of mind, body, and spirit. And the role and when you look at disease processes or stress, and also psychological suffering, stress and self-doubt, that's a highly fragmenting experience. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not well enough. You feel like marginalized in society, and this is why I'm invested in this channel being a portal of healing, really portal of healing, because the role of the healer, same root word, is to effectively remind you of the essential wholeness you already are. Is to essentially remind you of the essential wholeness that you already are. And that's a big purpose of this channel. And where the world of integrative medicine serves well, is it serves in the full integration of mind, body, and spirit with healers that have that sensibility to invest in you being at the center of your care. So I'm mindful, that I want to unpack more. So we're almost there at Mimi's place. In this context, I want you to introduce you. I'm hoping she's going to be there. I'm going to see if we can actually take some pictures, some film of me I'm going there for a blood draw, and I'm going to put my labs, from their lens of integrative holistic medicine. What are the labs that they're drawing right now today? Because you might find that helpful and of interest. And then what I'm going to do is, I hope I'll meet Mimi so I can introduce you to her personally. But I'm also called to do another video for you, where I'm going to just take you onto the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine's website to read you the mission and core values, because I think then you'll get an even deeper appreciation for the significance of this organization, and the work that they're doing in the world of facilitating healing. I think it's going to be the next one. It's going to be over there by, there's an alleyway before I think it's by the 7-Eleven. You take a left by the 7-Eleven. Another product placement. Okay. All right. So So in closing, I want to really, as I was saying earlier on, I really want to shine a light on organizations that are doing the work of the deep work of healing, growth, and facilitating flourishing in the world. And this field of integrative holistic medicine, and in particular the Academy, is doing the work of just that. So I want to kind of do this video to actually give you a deeper significance of what I've just shared with you a video about kind of anchoring in purpose and the significance of that. So I want to actually outline the purpose and core values of the Academy that is doing this significant work in the world. And just how perfect is this? We've arrived at the Pacific Pearl. Here's the back entrance. Yep. There's a parking space right there. Yeah. Oh, so they have two buildings over here adjacent to each other. Oh, how perfect is that? You've got there we go. You've got spots that are opening up. Yeah, absolutely. So we're parking the spots. That's the front entrance, and we're just about to walk in to the building at the time when I've come to a natural close. So again, this has been this whole script that is emerging through me is written by the cosmic force field within which miracles occur. And so again, thanks to the grace of God for timing, for allowing me to express this hopefully with eloquence in ways that are accessible to you, and for us arriving on time at our appointment. Okay, see you on the other side. Bye.